If you're in the market with a tight budget and looking for a good entry-level laptop with an awesome display, well, check this out. So this is the Asus Vivobook Go 15 OLED. And this is an inexpensive entry-level notebook, but it's got the best display that you will ever see on a Windows laptop in this price range. It's actually a Samsung made OLED screen, which is phenomenal. I mean, in the video you can't really tell, but this screen is awesome. And it's got an 8-core Intel Core i3, which is fast. Yes, 8 cores. And from the moment you hit the power button, you'll be on the desktop in about 10 seconds, and right away you can start launching apps and the laptop is not gonna slow down or lag at all. This is mainly due to the fast M.2 NVMe SSD. It even comes with a licensed copy of MS Office 2021 Home and Student. And apart from this, it's a beautiful machine. I mean, take a look at it. It looks like a high-end laptop, especially in the silver color. And although it is plastic, it feels nice and sturdy and there is very little flex to it. So I think it's an awesome laptop considering its asking price. However, it's got one shortcoming which I will talk about later in the video. We will start the review by talking about the display. So this laptop has a 15.6-inch OLED display by Samsung, and this is hands down the best display I have ever seen on a Windows laptop. Everything about it is perfect. The viewing angles, color reproduction, contrast, just name it. And it is actually rated at 100% DCI P3 color space with a maximum brightness of 600 nits while watching HDR content. So the screen is extremely bright. For the most part, you're gonna keep the brightness around 50 to 60% because that's more than enough for indoor use. And unlike an LCD, OLED screens do not have a backlight, so it's an emissive technology where the pixels themselves emit their own light, and this means you get infinite contrast. So if you're watching a movie with a lot of dark scenes, the blacks are gonna be completely black because the pixels are off. And take a look at how much of a difference there is in the contrast between an IPS LCD panel versus OLED. So watching movies with a lot of dark scenes is a treat to the eyes. Another thing that's common to LCDs on laptops is backlight bleeding. You can actually see it on these two screens. The backlight is bleeding through the edges of the display, but the OLED screen does not suffer from this issue. So the screen uniformity is perfect. The color depth is also 10 bits as reported by HW Info and the Intel UHD graphics control panel. So the screen has no issues with the color gradients and there is also no black crush. If you are seeing any weird gradients, it's most likely due to post-processing by YouTube. To my eyes, the display looks perfect. Oh, and did I mention the insanely fast 0.2 millisecond response time? Although on this particular model the refresh rate is limited to 60 Hz, but that's okay considering this is not a gaming notebook, so I wasn't expecting a 120 or a 144 Hz panel. I actually played Shadow of the Tomb Raider for a while and that display made me fall in love with the game once again. I mean, the screen is so good that you're gonna see details that are just not visible on a normal LCD monitor, especially in the dark areas. And obviously this being an entry-level laptop is not able to run Shadow of the Tomb Raider on its own. So I'm streaming the game from my desktop PC. This makes it possible to completely max out the game and enjoy it on the OLED display. Awesome, right? Now, because this is a glossy screen, you are gonna get reflections in bright sunlight. However, all of the text is clearly visible despite the reflection because the brightness of the screen is more than enough to overcome strong sunlight. It actually looks worse on the video, but I assure you, everything on the screen is easily readable. But all said and done, I don't like glossy screens. Now this being an OLED screen is obviously susceptible to screen burn-in, which is also known as image retention. So Asus has included a couple of features to prevent just that. So on the laptop, open the My Asus app And under customization, it has a couple of features that are OLED specific, like you've got pixel refresh and pixel shift. And I have seen something like this on LG's OLED TVs, so these two should prevent image retention. And you've also got flicker-free screen dimming. You see, the thing is, a lot of people get headaches because the screen flickers when you turn the brightness down. So that should not be an issue on this laptop. Now, other settings includes screen modes, and I would suggest keeping it on normal for the most accurate color reproduction. But switching this to vivid will make the colors on the screen absolutely pop. So yeah, absolutely superb screen for watching movies and playing games that have a lot of dark scenes. Now, coming to the juicy part, these specifications, which is what makes this laptop really interesting. So this particular model has a brand new 8-core CPU, which is the Intel Core i3-N305. And it's quite a new model announced in 2023. And it's an 8-core CPU. All of the 8 cores are the E cores, which are the efficient cores. Now, unfortunately, there is no hyper-threading, so all you get is 8 cores. Yet, surprisingly, this processor is blazing fast in day-to-day tasks like browsing the web. I mean, look at how quickly those pages open. It also opens YouTube fairly quickly and you can start watching a video under 5 seconds, and I think that's fairly impressive for an i3 machine. Actually, when it comes to web browsing, I feel that this is as good as my desktop, which is rocking a 12-core 5900X from AMD. And this is why I would say that this laptop is perfect for watching YouTube, Netflix, watching movies, and working on your documents. I also ran Cinebench and it gave us a multi-core score of 5254 points, which is surprisingly higher than the 11th gen i7-1165G7. Shocking, right? And the single core score is 992 points. Overall, it's a pretty decent score for an i3. And with a TDP of only 15 watts, the CPU consumes very little energy. And the best part is that the fan doesn't even run under normal workloads. So you can work on your documents or watch a movie without any noise coming from the laptop, which is what you would want from a thin and light notebook. And obviously it goes without saying, don't do this at home. The only time the fan is gonna run is when you've got CPU intensive apps running like playing a video game. And thanks to the low power consumption, the temperature rarely exceeds 80 degrees, and that's even while gaming. So that single heat pipe solution for the i3 is more than adequate to cool those 8 cores. So yeah, having E cores does have its advantages. And in the My Asus app, you've got multiple fan profiles. And for the most part, I would recommend keeping this on performance because you want to take out as much performance as you can out of that i3. Thing is, in Whisper mode, both the CPU and the GPU will be underclocked to reduce heat generation. Let me demonstrate. Okay, so in Whisper mode, you can see our GPU is running at about 700 to 750 MHz. Meanwhile, the CPU is running at about 1.8 to 1.9 GHz. And this is well below the rated frequency of the N305. And there is absolutely no fan noise coming from the laptop. The CPU temperature is only at 64 degrees even while gaming. And switching back to the performance mode, you can see that the clock speed of the GPU has gone up to 1.25 GHz and the CPU is running at 3 to 3.3 GHz. And obviously this causes the temperatures to go up and the fan is gonna run faster and faster to cool the CPU. So we have gone from a virtually silent laptop while gaming to something like this. So yeah, awesome feature for optimizing fan noise versus performance. And you can already see that gaming is not a strong point of this laptop. On average, we are getting about 35 to 40 FPS in Dota 2 after turning all of the settings down. And the game is running at the native resolution that is 1080p. Now the frame rate is obviously gonna go down as soon as there's a lot of action, as you can see. And the stats from MSI Afterburner shows us that we are GPU bound. So is it playable? Well, that depends on your definition of playable. In my opinion, yes, it is playable, but you're not gonna enjoy it. And before anyone starts asking, yes, I also ran Grand Theft Auto 5. And this is with all the settings turned down, running at 1080p. And this is totally fine because this is not a gaming laptop, it's not designed as a gaming laptop, and Asus is not advertising this as a gaming laptop either. This laptop is designed to be a media consumption machine to watch movies and TV shows on that gorgeous OLED display. But if you still insist on playing games, well, then you can try out Steam's Remote Play feature, because this feature is gonna allow you to stream games from your gaming PC onto your laptop completely maxed out at 60 FPS. This way you can enjoy playing games on that gorgeous OLED display. And because this laptop comes with Wi-Fi 6E, the wireless streaming experience is awesome. And not to mention, the wireless speeds are pretty fast. I got about 80 megabytes worth of file transfer speed while copying a video file over the network. So the wireless card inside this laptop is fairly decent. Now obviously, this being a budget laptop does have its shortcomings. One of the biggest ones is the lack of expandable memory. So the RAM is soldered onto the motherboard and you'll get 8GB of DDR4 running at 3200 MHz in single channel. Yes, single channel, because the i3 N305 does not support dual channel memory. Even though Task Manager shows 1 out of 2 slots, there is no second slot on the motherboard. Fortunately, the SSD is easily upgradable. It's a standard M.2 2280 NVMe SSD. And originally this laptop came with a 500GB SSD, which I've upgraded to 2TB. Also, that M.2 slot is PCIe Gen 3, so no point in getting a Gen 4 SSD. So how does a laptop with 8GB of RAM feels like? Well, in my opinion, the 8GB of single channel RAM should be more than sufficient for majority of people. And with no additional bloatware installed, you get about 4.7GB of available RAM after booting up. And this should be more than enough to do basic stuff like web browsing, watching videos, or do office related work like making presentations, working on documents, and even making video calls. And even after running all these apps, we have still got about 2.9GB of RAM available. Now call me crazy, but I think if the RAM is gonna be soldered onto the motherboard, then we should get at least 16GB as a minimum. That is gonna future-proof the laptop for a couple of years. And before anyone comments, yes, I did try editing a 1080p video, and initially it was playing back just fine, but sadly after adding a few effects, the video playback is quite sluggish in DaVinci Resolve. So you cannot use this laptop as a video editing machine. Now let's take a look at the I/O and the laptop itself. So on its right, it's got a 3.5mm headphone/microphone combo audio jack along with a USB Type-C and a USB Type-A port. Both of them are 3.2 Gen 1 ports. Then you've got HDMI 1.4 port, so no 4K output. You will be limited to Full HD 60Hz on a 4K external display. And that's the power input. This laptop comes with a 65W adapter, which is quite compact. And on the left, you've got a single USB 2.0 port, laptop status LED, and a battery charging LED indicator. So a very limited selection of ports. And I've already talked about the build quality, but something I want to add is that the looks and the feel of the plastic is actually really nice. Like I said, it looks like a high-end laptop, and it certainly feels better than my HP, which costs twice as much as the Asus. And coming to the hinge quality, well, it does feel nice and solid. And you're gonna need 2 hands to open the screen, and after opening it up, it's not gonna wobble on its own. And you can actually make the screen go completely flat so it opens up to 180 degrees. This makes the laptop feel more premium than it really is. Now, this being a 15-inch laptop has a full-size backlit keyboard, and I really like that brands are finally shipping entry-level laptops with backlit keyboards, because this used to be a premium feature. And speaking of the backlight, well, it's got a white backlight which is moderately bright, and you can switch it off and toggle the brightness by tapping on this button. And it's got a 3-step brightness control. And the backlight is not crazy bright, but it is bright enough to make the keyboard visible in a dimly lit room. Now the quality of both the keyboard and the trackpad is surprisingly good considering the price point of this laptop. And I am saying this after using a Razer Black Widow V3 Pro, which is a mechanical keyboard. And this is how it sounds like when you are typing. So yeah, I like it. The keys are thankfully not mushy and they feel good to type on. And so is the trackpad. The matte finish makes the trackpad really good to touch, and both the buttons have a really nice clicky feel to it. So yeah, considering the price point, both the keyboard and the trackpad are fantastic. Now coming to the battery, this laptop has an 11.5 volt 50 watt hour 3 cell battery which covers the entire bottom part of the laptop. And it's not the biggest battery that you will see, but thanks to the ultra low power CPU, you are gonna get a fairly decent battery backup. And during my testing, the laptop lasted for about 5 hours and 40 minutes, and we still have a little bit of charge left in the battery. I think I can stretch this beyond 6 hours, but I don't really recommend draining the battery beyond 20%. And this result is with mixed usage, so browsing the web, watching YouTube, and playing Dota 2 over Steam's remote play feature. I also did not have any battery saver switched on. The battery also charges fairly quickly. It only took about an hour to charge from 18 to 80%, and this was while I was using the laptop. Also, Asus includes a battery care feature in the My Asus app. So in the My Asus app, under customization, you will see an option called battery care. The maximum charge level will be limited to 80%, and this is gonna help extend the overall lifespan of the battery. So I recommend keeping it on. The web camera is very basic. It's only a 720p unit and it's right here. And it's also got this privacy shield in case you feel that someone is spying on you. So yeah, that is nice, but yeah, that's the quality that you can expect. Okay, so this is the kind of video quality that you can expect from the built-in web camera. Also, the audio is being captured through the built-in microphones. They are on the either side of the camera. And obviously, on such an inexpensive laptop, you're not gonna get autofocus in the web camera. But yeah, the focus seems to be pretty okay. Even if you sit up close, your face will be nice and sharp. So yeah, this is the built-in web camera of the Asus Vivobook Go 15 OLED. The speakers are tiny and they are at the bottom, so here they are. But fortunately, the sound quality is actually really nice. But on the downside, the sound gets totally muffled when you keep the laptop on a bed. So to prevent the sound from getting muffled on a bed, you might want to invest in a laptop stand. Now, in the My Asus app, you also get different sound modes. My favorite is the voice mode because this is gonna make the voice sound a lot clearer.
It was pretty new in the box. I do believe it worked at one point, then it went back in the box, and it just, next time I took it out,
Alright, so concluding thoughts. Who is this laptop for and why would you wanna buy it? Well, I think this laptop is perfect for students, working professionals, and home users. This is actually gonna be my dad's new laptop and he is gonna use it for office work, web browsing, and watching videos. And keep in mind that Asus has not sent this over, so this was actually purchased with our own money. So, thing is, if you are on a tight budget and want a laptop that has an awesome screen for watching movies, TV shows, working on documents, coding, well, this is what you would wanna buy. I really don't think there's any other laptop available in the market at this price point that comes with an awesome OLED screen and a backlit keyboard. However, you must keep in mind that this laptop is not for power users, content creators, and obviously gamers. Asus actually makes higher end version of the Vivobook OLED that comes with an RTX 3050 and powerful CPUs. So if you are a gamer or a power user, you might want to check this model out. Okay, so that brings us to the end of the video, and I hope this video helps you make a decision in purchasing the laptop. And as always, if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments down below and I will try my best to answer them all. And make sure that you are subscribed to the channel so you don't miss out on the new uploads. Okay, so I will see you guys in the next video. This is Tech Guy Charlie, signing off.